Good morning, my lovely nines. Right, buddies, here we go, our third lesson of trigonometry. So far, what you've done is you have figured out actually where trigonometry comes from. You did that by comparing the different sides of triangles, then you made a triangle smaller, 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 and bigger, 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 until you actually figured out that the ratio stays the same no matter how big the triangle is. And that's kind of where that's where trigonometry comes from, and that ratio matched up with the angle that the triangle was drawn to. So yeah, you've discovered trigonometry, you've now figured out how to do side length as well, because we discovered SOHCAHTOA. Because what were the three trig ratios again, my buddies? Oh yes, that's right, you have sine, which is opposite over hypotenuse. You have cos, or cos as you guys should say. If you're not saying it with a Canadian accent, you guys say cos. You have cos of theta is a over h, and you also know t for tan is O over a. And so that's everything that you've done so far. What we did also is you figured out you figured out side lengths with them just by putting this SOHCAHTOA stuff into a formula. So that's where we are at. So today, my lovelies, we are going to do one extra step, one step further, and that final thing is finding angles. So if you could please put the title Finding Angles for me, my buddies. And it's going to be a short video today, I think, because I'm going to try to leave you guys ample time to practice. That's what I'm going to do. So the title is Finding Angles. I kind of regret not leaving enough room here, so I'm just going to have to really zoom in, I guess, to fit it all in. Cool. So here we go, my folks. What I'd like you to do is I would like you to draw. Actually, I am going to move everything. Give me a sec. I should have done this before I started the video, but may as well just fix it now, eh? Okay, let's move all this rubbish down for some space and move this rubbish down as well. Oh yeah. Okay, sorry, buddies. So here's what we're going to do, my folks. We are going to try to find the angles in this case, okay? So normally we'd had the sides missing, and normally a side would be missing and you'd have an angle. That was the case in these ones, that a side was missing, but the angle was always given. Well, now we're going to try to figure out what the angle is, but we are going to be having sides given. Well, you'll be happy to hear, my buddies, it works in very nearly the same way. So here's what you're going to do to start with. It's going to just be like any of the other questions that you've done so far. So what is the first thing that you have to do with these triangles when you know that it's a trigonometry question? That's it, labeling them. Exactly that, my buddies. So what do? Which side's which? Pause it and label this first one. Go on, you can label it. And hopefully you got this then. Hopefully you got that 8 was opposite, because I drew a line out of the angle and it hit that side, that's opposite. The longest side is always called the hypotenuse, but if you can't figure out which one's the longest, it's the one opposite to the right angle, and the leftover one is the adjacent. What do we do next? Well, we circle the things that have something written next to them, which is O and H in this case, because they have the 8 and the 15, but A doesn't have anything at all, so we're going to leave that out. Okay. Next step, the hardest step, is you look at the letters. You have O and H. You have aw. Now, if you think of it, if you think of SOHCAHTOA up here, if you have O and H, aw, which one is it? Is it saw, ka, or toa? Is it saw, ka, or toa? That's right, it's saw. It's S-O-H, isn't it? SOHCAHTOA. It's the O and the H. It's the first one. It's sine. So here's what you write down, my buddies. You write down this. You write sine. And you know it's normally theta. You know this actually secretly stands for sine of theta equals O over H, and we're just kind of shortening it to just say SOHCAHTOA, but that's actually what it means, that formula. Well, the theta, the angle in this case, has actually been given the letter A, so we'll call it sine A. Now what does that equal? Well, it equals O, which is 8 over H, which is 15. Shaboosh! There you go. Now, here's where the new skill comes in. This is where the brand new learning comes in, my buddies. And here's the thing. We want to get what A is, but it's not really clear how to get A by itself. Like, normally, when I have you guys in lesson, 9 times out of 10, when I say to students, oh, what do you think we should do to get A by itself? You guys really cleverly say, oh, divide both sides by sine. And it's quite a clever thing, because you view it as just like sine has been times on to a. But actually, you can't quite do that. Sine is actually an operation. So in order to cancel out sine, what we need to do is we need to use what's called the inverse of sine, which is the opposite. So it's just like when something is like added, say that you had to get rid of a plus 2, well, what would you do in that equation? Well, you do minus 2 from both sides, because minus is the opposite to plus. If you had something that had been divided by 3, if you wanted to get the original thing, you'd times by 3, because that undoes it. The multiply is the opposite of divide. Well, the opposite of sine, my buddies, is actually this step, which you're not even going to write once, but I'm going to write it just to show you. The opposite of sine is actually sine minus 1 is how most people say it. It's also called sine inverse, and if you want to be really posh, it's also called the arc sine, but people don't usually say that one very often. So we'll just say sine minus 1 or sine inverse. That's usually what normal people say. So you're going to sine minus 1 on both sides. So just like that, minus 1 of 8 over 15. Okay, now this step that I've just written, I'm just going to eliminate for you. I've only shown you this because look, if you unsign something that has been signed, it's as though you've done nothing at all. You get to go whoosh, whoosh, and cancel them out. And you'll just be left with this. A equals sine minus 1 of 8 over 15. Cool? So what you'll do when you do it is you'll write this first step and then you'll come right to there. You'll skip out that middle step that I just did, but I did that middle step just so that you could see what sine minus 1 is. It's a way of getting the sign away from the letter A. Cool? Well, now that it's like this, all you have to do is put it into your calculator. So I'm going to do it with you just to make sure you get it. Let's show you how to do it. Okay, to make sine minus 1, here's what you're going to do. Class whizzers first, I'll show you. Class whizzers. Because we want sine minus 1, can you see that it's in yellow above the sine button? Well, here's what you do. Push that button first, push shift first, okay? Then let go of shift and push sine. Now your calculator will say sine minus 1 open bracket, okay? Then what you do is you put the fraction in, so this button here, oops, oh, I got the wrong color. This button here, fraction button here, get it into a fraction, and it'll say this, it'll say like that. Then you just put in the 8 over 15 using these buttons, and then you push close bracket at the end, and then you push equals. So shift sign, 8 over 15, close brackets, equals, and I got 32.2, and I hope that that's what you got too. 32.2 degrees, and that's the answer to that question. Cool? Non-class whizzers, here you go. Same exact thing for you. Shift first, okay? Then push sine, because sine minus 1 is in yellow up above it, and then it will say, just like it did here, it'll say sine minus 1, but yours won't be as pretty, but it will still say sine minus 1 open bracket, and then you just enter it just as you see it. Fraction button, 8 over 15, close button, and you'll get the same answer, okay? Cool beans. Sweet. Yeah, so that's that. What I'm going to get you guys to do now is I'm going to do this and this with you, and then I'm going to set you free to try some on your own. Then I'm going to give you the entire rest of the lesson to practice, because it does just take practice. Cool. So in B, what do we do first? That's it. Label. Let's do it. Draw a stick out. That's opposite to the line B, so that one's O. The hypotenuse is here. It's the long slanty one, or it's opposite the right angle, however you like it, leaving that as A. So, circle the ones that have something next to them, O and A, and sound out your acronym again. SOHCAHTOA. Well, we have OA, so which one are we if we're doing SOHCAHTOA? That's right, buddies, we are 10, because we're OA, and this is OA. So here you go, you write this. You write 10. The letter, though, this time is B, because the angle is the thing that we don't know, and that's going to equal 9 over 7.5, because it was O over A. Cool? Next step, you'll write this. You'll write B equals, and you'll put 10 minus 1 of 9 over 7.5. Now, it was 10 minus 1 because you've 10 minus 1'd both sides in order to make that 10 go away. So on the left side, you'll only just have B, which is our goal. And at this stage, it's a calculator draw B. Shift 10, fraction button, 9 divided by 7.5, close bracket, equals 50.2 degrees, my buddies. Like a boss. And that's what you've got. Cool beans? Final one, buddies. Let's do it. This is the final one I'm proper helping you with, and you're going to have to go on your own. So let's do it. Oh yeah, oh, you can tell how rubbish my, oh dear, oh I've just given away that I didn't do that very well. Yeah, no one saw that, that's fine. Yeah, that's totally part of the graphic, I didn't just add that in. Yeah, anyway, so first step first is you label the sides. So this one's opposite, this one's hypotenuse, that one's adjacent. This one's hypotenuse because it's opposite the right angle. A and H have something next to them. Sound out your acronym. Saw, ka, toa. We have a. So that means we're ka, which means we're cos. Cos with C equals, and it's A over H, so 15 over 18. That's line 1. Line 2 is C equals cos minus 1 of 15 over 18, because we cos minus 1 both sides to get the C on its own. And the final step is just type it in. Shift cos 15 divided by 18 equals, and it's 33.6. And that should be your final answer. Cool beans, my buddies? Right. So, oh, just one more thing. If it isn't working for you, if you've got answers that are like decimal numbers in them, just make sure you reset the calculator like in the last video. It's like shift 933 or whatever. If you're getting decimal answers, it means that your thing doesn't have a D at the top, and your thing has to have a D in the top line somewhere. Okay, cool. Here's what we're going to do. I want you, just now, to pause the video, try all 3 of these by yourself, because once they're all 3 done and you've got the answers written out, I'll say what my answers are really quick, but then you will be able to see the steps if you need to. Okay, so you ready? Pause, go. Okay, and you're back. So let's see how you did. So on the first one, you would have labeled it like this. That's OAH, which means H and A have got it. It's cos. Cos D is equal to 10 over 14.5, which means that D is cos minus 1 of 10 over 14.5, which means that D is shift cos 10 divided by 14.5 equals 46.4. So if you got 46.4, like a boss. Good work, buddies. Cool beans. Right, this one here, let's see how you did. Okay, this one's the opposite. Oh, that's adjacent. A, that's hypotenuse. H. The ones that have bits and bobs are A and O. Sa, ka, toa. It's tan. Tan E equals 10.2 over 8, which means E equals 10 minus 1 of 10.2 over 8, because I tan minus 1 to both sides to cancel the tan out on the left, which means our answer is shift tan 10.2 divided by 8 equals, and we got an amazing 51.9. 51.9 degrees, like a boss. You're trigging now, my lovelies. Okay, last one, let's get it labeled. That's O, that's H, that's A. So we have O and H, saw, katoa. It's sine, saw, sine. So sine F equals 110 over 165, which means F is equal to sine minus 1, because we're sine minus 1ing both sides, 110 over 165, which means that F equals shift sine 110 divided by 165 equals 41.8 degrees. So if you got all those 3, you are proper on track, and that's it. You've just mastered the new skill of today's lesson. So good on ya, my lovely lovelies. Lovely, lovely nines. Okay, for the rest of the lesson, here's what you're going to do. I've got this sick, amazing matching activity, and you have to figure out the angle in each one, okay? Now, step-wise, I would like for you just to at least show me one step for each one, okay? So, for instance, say that you're really good. Say that those 3 questions for you that you just did were very easy, and you didn't even have to really think about them. Well, if you're like that, I'm going to let you cut a little bit of step out, but not really. So, like, squeeze it in, because this will be on A4 when you do it. Squeeze it in, and here's what you'd write down. I would like for you at least to write down this. Spotting that that's O and H, you're going to be like, you'll have to do this. You'll have to write down O and H is sine, isn't it? Sine A equals, and then you'll be O over H, which is 7 over 10. So you do have to show steps, actually. Yeah, I'm not gonna let you skip steps after I just said I would. Sorry, I don't want to though. I want you to show these steps. So here we go. Shift sine 7 divided by 10, and it's 44.4. Okay, 44.4 degrees. And here's how the matching works. That means that this first one, letter A is 44.4, so it's somewhere in here. There it is, 44.4. Cool. So get in there, get all of them filled in for me, please. It won't take you very long. Actually, it really, really won't. Once you're in the zone, the speed of them is quite quick. So that's it from me, my buddies. Make sure you submit it on Show My Homework when you're all the way done, and make sure that you've shown me these like 3 steps for each one, if you wouldn't mind. Okie doke, my buddies. Here, I'll let you cut steps a little. Here's the one step I'll let you cut. After you've done the first row, you don't have to label the triangles anymore, because I'll bet you're probably at the stage now, maybe, that you can tell which side is which before you even start. But yeah, no pressure if you want to label them though too. Cool. So that's it from me, my buddies. I shall see you next time, and that's it. Bye, buddies!